Now, Costa Rica has its beautiful dense jungles and rainforests and its turquoise ocean with long stretches of white sand beaches, of an undeveloped coastline to towering volcanoes to lush valleys to watering teeming with all sorts of exotic marine life. It also has its inland lakes, streams, and rivers with cascading waterfalls. It has its overall incredible natural environment, and the list could go on, pro after pro after pro. It also has its modern cities that are full of cultural attractions and entertainment, together with that reliable infrastructure. So yes, more pros. It also has a laid-back attitude and would be one of the main characteristics that draws many expats to the country, but it could also be one of the reasons that frustrates North Americans as well after that honeymoon phase wears off. The whole concept of slowing down to enjoy life, letting things just roll off your back, and relaxing your expectations is a great outlook to adopt. But if you don't do your homework of Costa Rica, you may be up for a lot of surprises. Now, there are a lot of opinions out there, some positive and some negative, about living in Costa Rica that may steer your thoughts. Of course, you'll never know exactly whether you'll like the place or not unless you actually live there for a period. And in the end, if you don't like Costa Rica, the last solution would be to just go back home. But with that said, let's dive into the 15 best reasons not to retire to Costa Rica, and give me a thumbs up if you overall agree, or a thumbs down if you just don't agree, and comment below for points that I may have missed or are plainly wrong. But let's jump into them now. Number 15, the weather. When it rains, it pours. You'll need to carefully select the location you live, or even the elevation you want to live. But if you're okay with a bit of heat and humidity in exchange for that laid-back lifestyle, then you might not mind it. The country's rainy season runs from May to November, and depending on where you live, rainy could mean anything from the afternoon shower to the downpours that go on for days on end. The Caribbean coast gets more rainfall than the Pacific. The roads, as well as your own property, will at times be a muddy mess. Power and water outages are quite common as well. The persistent rainfall plus the lack of sunshine to dry things out could cause your belongings to go moldy. Now, Costa Rica has two seasons, a summer, dry season, and a winter, rainy, wet season. The rainy season could be better. At least there's no snow. Number 14, lots of dogs. Now, if you're not a dog person, Costa Rica may not be for you. You'll see lots of them roaming around on the streets, sides of roads, just everywhere. They'll even bark at you and come to you, which would scare people who don't like dogs. But of course, you can also scare them away with a grunt or a shout as well. But most dogs, if owned, are kept outside a lot of the times on a chain. But most Costa Ricans don't neuter their pets, so they multiply and multiply and multiply. Now, if you don't want to ever talk with anyone, being an introvert, then you don't want to move to Costa Rica. If you're looking for that quiet day just to go grocery shopping and come home in peace and quiet, it's probably not possible. People are too nice and will yell your ear off with buenos dias, with big smiles, or you'll run into a friend being in a small town and chat here and there, and could make you feel awkward being an introvert. Number 12. Too much time, not enough money. We all have that picture of living in paradise. That's the whole reason why you're attracted to Costa Rica in the first place. The palm trees, white sand, waking up late and having that breakfast at a local restaurant, and spending the rest of the day with hobbies and lying on the beach. Retirement would be one big party. But after having all that fun, you may start using up all your life savings, figuring out that this lifestyle is way too expensive, and you'll need to use the B word, budgeting. You're gonna have all that free time working so hard to get to this point in life. The cost of shopping, travel, and all the expenses associated with new hobbies can add up. But you've worked all your life, and so did your spouse, and now you are in each other's face all day long, every day. Watching a sunset and drinking pina coladas might be fun in the beginning, but you might even start pondering about having to work part-time to get that time apart and to pay for more beverages. Number 11, living the wrong lifestyle. But yes, living in paradise means palm trees, white sand, a turquoise ocean, and pina coladas. You'll probably wake up late and have that huge breakfast at the local restaurant and spend the rest of the day surfing and lying on the beach, as mentioned before. That is until you and your spouse figure out that you become alcoholics and become broke and life no longer is a party. Number 10, insects. Now, there are crawling critters in Costa Rica of which you've never seen the likes of in North America. The humid beach towns, especially along the Caribbean coast, are plagued with mosquitoes, some even carrying dengue fever. Ants are also a problem and they bite, so you'll need to constantly clean your kitchen and secure food storage to ward them off. Termites could also invade and cause property damage as well. And don't forget the huge cockroaches, as big as your hand, and the extra large spiders, or tarantulas. Number 9. Life and business move slowly. Now, if you expect immediate service everywhere you go in Costa Rica, you're in for a surprise. It's not the way things are done. Now, the people are nice and they want to help you, but they are also extremely laid back. They don't get too worked up or stressed about anything. Everything gets done in its own time. You'll find you'll need to wait for your waiter in restaurants for quite a while until you flag them down and request it. And once requested, then you'll wait some more time while it gets done and brought back. Nothing is a hurry. In Costa Rica, there's something called tico time, where work expected to take a few hours completed in the States may require twice as much time here. Number 8. Expats view the experience differently. Now, new expats come into Costa Rica, they have that I have more money attitude and only want to live with the other gringos with their noses up in the air, showing disrespect and showing no love for the local Costa Rican people whose country they are a guest in. And how do you think the average Costa Rican will react? With welcome arms, of course. They are very well educated and have excellent radar for this type of attitude. But of course, there are those that are the exact opposite and try to get to know the locals and learn Spanish. But this type of North American influenced lifestyle and attitude is the reason that many expats left their countries in the first place. And the attitudes may be a turnoff to some. But of course, it will really depend on your preference. You may need to decide before you leave what level of expat community you're after, and there's a high density of expats to choose from. You'll need to carefully consider how you'll fit in among others in Costa Rica. Some expats prefer to stick with other expats, while others prefer to avoid expats to try to fully integrate into society. By just visiting, you'll see the opportunities to immerse yourself in the authentic culture without having English constantly spoken to you, or even choose a less developed spot where there are fewer North Americans. Options are available. Number 7. It's not cheap. Costa Rica is expensive. It's probably the most expensive country in Central America and one of the most expensive in Latin America. Though some say you still save about 33% over the US cost of living, where some others say the affordability of living in Costa Rica is similar to the US. Now, there are of course a few things that do cost less, but in comparison, that claim to show Costa Rica as cheaper are actually showing some things that are being given up to live a more basic lifestyle, making it inexpensive. Number 6. Crime and corruption. Drugs and trafficking related violence, break-ins, muggings, and fraud push crime up on the list of concerns residents have. Of course, no country is immune to the increasing global crime rates, even from where you're watching this vlog from. But that being said, Costa Rica still has a share of petty crimes, mostly property related. Homes, especially those that are only used seasonally, are often broken into. Tourists are often pickpocketed as well. And leaving items unattended in an unlocked vehicle or lying around outside your home is a good way to ensure they won't be there when you come back. So you can't walk around flashing your jewelry around, accessories, sunglasses, your electronics like your camera, smartphones, iPods, and other devices, or wave around your wads of cash, especially large bills. Number 5. Traffic is bad. Now, if you're expecting a smooth ride each time in Costa Rica, you're out of luck. Although some of the roads are okay and are getting better, there are some that are full of potholes. You'll actually see branches sticking out of them, so people would avoid them while driving. If you ride around in that car, it will always be a bumpy ride. The traffic gets pretty bad, and some say it's faster to just walk across the Central Valley than to drive because the traffic is so bad and it just doesn't seem right to have traffic jams in paradise. The capital is the worst, but not the only place with traffic. And yes, it's possible to choose a lifestyle that minimizes driving, but if you want the modern conveniences around, like supermarkets, shopping centers, highways, and Federal Express deliveries, you'll need to be around them. Number 4. Governments and taxes. Tax revenue in Costa Rica is always looking for a way to generate tax revenue on foreigners' pensions and other income. And even if you become a resident of Costa Rica, Rica, you'll also still have your full US tax obligation where other countries vary. And the bureaucracy is big, complicated, and often requires a personal appearance at the office, like registering your car for inspection, possibly repairing, and trips to the bank, then another to wait in lines at a local county seat to file a registration. And you may need to pay much higher taxes on the household you buy, and your immigration lawyer might say you brought all the wrong documents and that you need a much higher income to apply for residency status. Your health insurance might not cover you in Costa Rica, and the medicine you need is not available either. You may end up having to pay more taxes and customs as a result. The residency status rules may change as well, so you need to always keep looking over the government website for any changes. Number 3, hard to sell your property. Now, you may not have done your homework well enough before retiring to Costa Rica, and you found a real estate agent who sold you your place you've been dreaming about all your life. But then you realize you hate the place, you're bored, and you don't like your neighbors. You hate the country and everything in it. It may actually take you forever to sell the property and move on because you bought it at a too high of a price. So you always want to rent first, try different locations, and spend the first 2 years of your retirement looking around. So if you decide to leave, it may be hard to sell any property, home or condo you have invested in without taking a big loss. You'll also be competing with new construction from a lot of developers, and real estate brokerage is unregulated and unpredictable, and everyone is hustling to make that extra dollar. And also renting out your beach house or condo so you can split time between Costa Rica and home might not work out as well. Now, you yourself will want to be there during the good times, and you'll be trying to rent when many fewer tourists are visiting. Property management is expensive and often unreliable, and there's a lot of rental competition as well. Number 2, public healthcare. Now, the healthcare in Costa Rica does cost less, but Medicare and other US and Canadian insurances aren't accepted. Emergency medical care is rudimentary, and many areas are up to 5 hours away from one of the few modern private hospitals. Many expats also say they have mixed experiences with the healthcare system in Costa Rica, and while there is access to the public healthcare system, most go for private coverage to make sure that big disaster is taken care of. And finally, number 1, friends and family may not visit. Many of your friends and family may not visit as much as you would like them to, and they may not like it or understand your move or have other priorities in their lives. Roughly half the expats who come to Costa Rica thinking it will be a permanent home with friends and family visiting leave within a year, and about 3/4 are gone or switch to part-time within 2 years after realizing that it could be a lonely life if you're not willing to make friends there. Now, we all know that Costa Rica is a tropical paradise with gorgeous beaches and a great climate. It's relatively safe and not as expensive as some other warm climate retirement destinations, but it's always best to know what the good and the bad would be of any location you're thinking of living in, so you could make that informed decision. The welcoming anything goes approach affords a lot of chances to meet new people and learn about other cultures in Costa Rica. Well, tell me what you think of the cons in living in Costa Rica in the comment section below. If you like this vlog, please don't forget to give me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell for more of my coming content here. Thank you for watching my vlog. Be free, gain wealth, and travel far.